Welcome back to another new episode of Campus Stories here on RMU TV. I'm your host Vince Russo, and we have an awesome show planned for you today. Today we'll be blessed to be joined by two awesome guests. The first, gallery coordinator of the Media Arts Gallery, Andrew Ames, who will be discussing the upcoming Gold Show. The second is Beth Miller, the assistant director of the Career Center, who is here to talk about the upcoming Creativity at Work conference. And with that, welcome, Mr. Ames.
Thank you.
So tell us about your job and what all it entails as the gallery coordinator.
Well, as the gallery coordinator, we plan all of the shows. So we've got the gallery committee that consists of media arts faculty, and we look at the year's schedule and decide, what do the students need to see? What can we kind of help bring to them to help change their perspectives or introduce them to new ideas. So we generally have a series of about 6 shows per year. 2 we generally bring from off campus, and then we do a number of student shows. So Gallery Club has a show that they present every year now. We have a faculty show that happens every year at this point. The Gold Show, which we're going to be talking about, and 2 senior showcases. So the graduating seniors present their final portfolios.
And I was just going to lean into, tell us about the upcoming Gold Show and what that will feature.
So the Gold Show features media arts students' work. It's generally the best of the best. So students submit their work, and the faculty then jury it into the show. This year we had 200 submissions. 118 of them were done correctly, and of that 118, 56 works were chosen to display.
And where did the name originate for the Gold Show?
Well, the name came long before I started, but my interpretation of it is it's representative of an honor, right? So when you go to the Olympics, you win a gold medal, right? Well, in the arts, we've got the Gold Show for our students. So getting into the show is a big deal. Means your work had to pass the muster of the faculty. And not just one. We've got 9 faculty, and generally about 5 participate in the jurying. And if it doesn't get the most votes, it doesn't always get in.
So you said 56 different works. Is that 56 different students? How many students are actually represented?
So about 35 students are represented. So students generally can submit as many works as they want. So we have some students that submitted 1, we had some students that submitted 10 or more pieces.
And you said that some didn't exactly fill it out the correct way with the submissions. What was the submission process like, and where did some students fall short?
Well, this year we were trying something a little different. So we had submissions done online. So students had to fill out an online application, and then they had to email us images of their work. So that's where some of the hiccups happened. Was they did the first part, they submitted the title, they submitted their name, and then the email didn't always happen. So of the emailed works, we were able to jury those images.
So what all types of art are featured in the Gold Show?
So typically in the Gold Show, it's foundations, so freshman level work, and then graphic design, photography, and web design. We've got a separate show for TV video students, so they've got the gold screening that happens every year.
Do you know exactly when that show will be?
That generally happens at the end of the year during the senior showcase.
And for the different types of art, which one would you say is primary in this one? Which one would you say the most of is in this one?
This round is probably a lot of graphic design, though photography had a much larger showing. And web design has been growing every year because it's typically a small program, so they had a larger showing than they have in the past. Sadly, this year we didn't have as many foundations pieces as we usually do. I think that may have been because of the hiccup with the submission process. The freshmen weren't quite accustomed to submitting their work as our senior level students are.
So, kind of straying away a little bit, what is the importance of having the arts be influential on a college campus?
Well, I mean, the arts bring culture to the campus. They bring the students something different to see, and we're always trying to bring something on that really the students haven't seen before. Because that's what you're supposed to be doing in college, is having those experiences, learning new things, and art always has something different, some new perspective to share. One of the things I think great about art is that it should make people ask questions. Right? So we try and bring stuff into the gallery that will make students ask those questions.
Well, we will be right back with Andrew Ames here on Campus Stories. Don't go anywhere.
These boys are my heroes. They come every week to spend time with my children.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
They can teach them something no one else can.
Wisconsin.
They're role models to the children, and homework comes way before sports. Their grades have improved, and their lives are just a bit richer.
Okay.
What they do for my kids is truly wonderful.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
I call them my lifeline.
People don't realize how quickly you can end up on the street. One thing happens in your life, medical bills you can't pay, you lose your job, and that's it.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
We went to DC to work with the homeless. They sell a newspaper called Street Sense. Thought I'd help.
But if you want to give more, you can.
This person came up to me and said, "Get a job." And for 2 hours, I felt what it was like to be homeless.
Good morning. $1 help.
Some of the other students said, "How can we change this?" And I said, "Sometimes you can't change the world, but you may be able to change one person's world." My dream? Open a psych clinic for people on the street.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
Welcome back. You're watching Campus Stories on RMU TV. Today we are talking to Andrew Ames. Thank you again for coming on to the show today.
Thanks.
So, just to reiterate, what are the dates and times for the Gold Show for students that are interested in coming to see it?
So the Gold Show is open now through April 10th. The gallery's open 10 to 4. If the doors are ever closed, you can always just wander upstairs and Lynn, our secretary, will open up the doors for you. But typically we'll have students in there watching the show.
And for those who may not know, where exactly is the gallery at on campus?
It's in the Wheatley Center, so it's right across from the Wheatley Cafe.
What has been done besides this appearance today to advertise the Gold Show thus far?
So typically we do email blasts to the student body, and that goes out to the press, so it occasionally shows up in the paper. And that goes up on Facebook and the website.
In previous years, what has the attendance been like?
Well, for the student shows, we tend to have a high attendance because the students are excited to be showing their work, so they're inviting friends and family. So opening nights, it tends to be quite the crowd. Of course, there's also food involved, so that also brings folks in.
What would you say to students that have never gone that might be interested in coming?
Well, come see something you haven't seen before. It's an opportunity to see what your peers are doing, and it's an opportunity to see what artists around the world are doing when we have a show from outside. Plus, you get set credit.
How does it feel to be able to help students who work so hard on this art to be able to show it off?
Well, I'm always proud of the students that have work in the show. It's a great deal of pride to be able to exhibit the killer work that our students do. And to have students involved with the gallery too is great. So we've got the gallery club that helps with every show. And being able to pass on the excitement to them about hanging work and showcasing the different views that folks have. It's a great point of pride.
Is there anything else before we head off to a commercial break that you would like to add?
Well, I'd encourage everybody to come to the gallery. Spend some time with the work, see the shows, and get involved in the gallery club too. Because there you'll actually get to participate and see the behind the scenes with what goes into actually hanging a show. Because when you come to the show, you see the work hanging and everything is beautiful, but you miss out on just all of the planning and effort that goes into getting the stuff up on the walls.
Well, perhaps we'll have to have Mr. Ames back on to talk about that club, but we have to take a quick commercial break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Campus Stories. Don't touch that dial.
Nicaragua is a completely different world. We were there to bring nursing care to some desperate people.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
The very first person that I met was David. Kept saying, "You have to come to my house and watch me play my trumpet." You could tell from the look on his face that it was just his most prized possession. I get back home. A few weeks later, I got a message that a gang had broken into his house at night and they stole it, which was his life. So next trip back, we gave him a new one. The look on his face was just complete disbelief. He just absolutely couldn't believe it. And to be able to do something like that was one of the best moments of my life. He said he'd never forget us.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
These boys are my heroes. They come every week to spend time with my children.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
They can teach them something no one else can.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. They're role models to the children, and homework comes way before sports. Their grades have improved, and their lives are just a bit richer.
Okay.
What they do for my kids is truly wonderful.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
I call them my lifeline.
We are back here on Campus Stories with our second guest now, Ms. Beth Miller, the Assistant Director of the Career Center. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
So as the Assistant Director for the Career Center, what all does your job entail?
Well, let's see. Like all of the career counselors in the office, I have my own counseling load. So I work primarily with the communication, English, media arts majors, organizational leadership, pre-law, and also all of the undecided majors. In addition to that, I do some more administrative or organizational tasks in the office. Colonial Track, which most of you are probably familiar with, is something that I oversee for the most part. Any major changes, the maintenance, alumni approvals, those type of things. Communication skills, for all of you that have had business and professional, a Career Center staff member comes into all of those classes to talk about resumes and interviews. So I do the content for that as well as all the scheduling. And then curriculum in general, we have a career exploration and decision making class. That's something I developed about 7 years ago. So every year it's updating that, tweaking that, doing the outcomes assessment, and certainly teaching a section. And this may be news for all of you. We just got a new syllabus approved for a class that will start in fall 2014. That will be called Transitioning from College to a Career and be geared more towards juniors and seniors.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that.
That one will be more focused on job search. So for all of the juniors and seniors who are really getting into high gear with their job search, if you've ever heard that phrase, it's like having a full-time job, looking for a job. There's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot that goes into it. So the course will really guide students through the whole process of resumes, cover letters, interviewing, how to find positions, but also get into other areas like graduate school planning, financial wellness, how to make some smart decisions as you start out, excuse me, on your career. But also things like, once you land that job, how to be successful in the workplace. So getting into areas like professionalism, what employers expect, where are new grads excelling, and where might they be falling short.
Well, getting back to the original purpose of you joining us today, tell us a little bit more about the Creativity at Work conference that's coming up here.
Sure. Creativity at Work will be held on April 3rd. This is our 11th annual event. It is targeted for majors in communication, English, and media arts. Really, there are several purposes for the conference. Initially, just for any student who's really not sure what they want to do. They have a general idea, but really aren't sure what direction they want to go or what a career might entail. We have a lot of speakers that can give them more, here's the day-to-day, what you might experience in the field. Definitely for our upper class students or alumni who are attending, they can ask questions more about the job search. How do I break into the field? How do I get to do what you're doing? And get specific advice from those speakers. And then in general, we have the networking time that's built into the conference, and networking is the most effective job search strategy, so we definitely encourage the students to take part in that as well.
So how many students possible will this be able to benefit on the university's campus?
Well, like I said, it's targeted mostly toward communication, English, and media arts. Certainly we market it to the undecided students who might be making decisions about these majors. The marketing major also is included in the publicity. Many of them have interest in the advertising and public relations, but really it's open to anyone. So if anyone has an interest in the speakers, they're welcome to come. This year, for the first year, we have a speaker on the advertising panel who does strategic planning, and her academic background is actually psychology. So it could be of interest to many groups.
And how do students register for this event?
Sure. They can go directly to the Career Center website. There is a logo on there. You can click on that. I've heard you've done that, so that's good. Once you click on the main page, there is a spot where you can click to register and then fill out what sessions you would plan to attend. So it's a pretty quick, I would say less than a couple minutes process. We do really encourage students to pre-register. That helps us assign where the panels go. Some of the rooms in Soul Center are not overly large, so when you tell us what you plan to attend, that helps us arrange things the best way we can. But also, when we're ordering catering for breakfast, that's helpful to know how many of you we should expect. If someone doesn't pre-register, they can register as a walk-in also the day of the event.
And you talked about April 3rd, and you hinted at Soul. Where and when is the event, and what is kind of the timetable for it?
Sure, it starts at 8, bright and early. So we have the registration time from 8 to 8:30. It's on the 3rd floor of Soul Center, so students can just walk right up there. 8:30 to 8:45 will be a welcome from me, and then for the opening session, that's from 8:45 to 9:45. And for the first time this year, we have, for the event, we have breakout sessions for the opening session. So students can go to how to find an internship, or the new one is strategies for the full-time job search and workplace success. So they have an option for the opening session. At 10 and 11, we have the career panel discussions. So there are 4 topics for that: advertising and public relations, design and multimedia, TV, video production and film, and then the always popular Creative Careers Potpourri, which has a variety of different careers featured. So again, the first one goes from 10 to 10:50. That repeats from 11 to 11:50, giving students the chance to go to 2 of the topics overall. And then the networking begins at 11:50. So basically, all of the speakers will stay put in their rooms, and then as students, you can walk around from room to room and talk more one-on-one with the speakers that you maybe had more of an interest in.
And how has this event thus far, besides the appearance that you're making today, been advertised to students?
Oh, let's see. Every student should have had multiple emails by now. Postcards went out last week. We have images up on the digital screens. There have been mini flyers that students have been passing out, so all the traditional types of things. The faculty and the sponsoring departments are also amazing in terms of promotion. They not only promote it to their classes in general, but many of them do offer extra credit or in some cases require their classes to go. So we get a huge boost of promotion from all of the faculty.
We will take a quick commercial break here on Campus Stories and return with our guest. Don't go anywhere.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the art.
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit americansforthearts.org.
You ever think about buying a bigger place?
Just waiting for a visit from the credit fairy.
There is no credit fairy.
How else will I get a better credit score?
Look, you keep your credit card balances low and only open a new card if you really need it.
No fairy?
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
Yes, ready.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to Campus Stories here on RMU TV. So, tell us a little bit about some of the different panels again, just to kind of delve back into that if you can.
Sure. The 4 traditional panels have remained fairly the same, but we always vary the speakers. So the first, and typically that attracts the largest attendance, is the advertising and public relations. This year we actually have 5 speakers. It just happened to work out that way. Then there's the design and multimedia, which is more targeted towards the graphic design and web design students. TV, video, and film, we have one from each of those areas this year, and we kind of made a strategic decision to keep that one at 3. And then the potpourri, like I said, always has a mixture of different things. This year we're featuring speakers for journalism, publishing, photography, and theater, so we have an actor coming.
And tell us, if you can, some of the highlight speakers, some of the people, some of the names that might intrigue kids to come out.
Well, for the TV folks, we have Andrew Stockey coming from WTAE. He's the sports director and a news anchor for them, so I'm sure that will attract a lot of students. They're all great speakers. For advertising and public relations, we have some of the heavy hitters coming. We have speakers from Mark USA, Bruner, Mullen, all on that panel. The communication director for the Pittsburgh Zoo is coming as well. I'm trying to think who I'm missing on that one. But in general, they're all very strong speakers. We try very hard to mix them up in terms of what their role is. So in other words, on advertising and PR, we don't want 4 account people. We want a mixture of people that do social media or PR for a nonprofit or account management. So that basically covers that one. Which ones are we back to? Design and multimedia. We actually have 2 alumni coming for that one, so I think that's a great opportunity to share what some of our folks do after they graduate. And also the creative director for Zoltan Design, which is a firm that we have not had yet for the conference. So again, that's something we like to mix up. Some familiar faces or organizations, but trying to bring in new firms or companies just so they get a better idea of what we do here at Robert Morris.
And what goes into the planning behind an event this big?
There's a lot. The planning actually starts back in December. Typically at the beginning of December, I send a message to all of the faculty and the sponsoring departments. It's more or less a, mark your syllabi, reminder of the date, and requesting for them to send any speakers that they think would be good for the event. So starting in January, when we get back from winter break, that begins the long process of securing the speakers, and that can take months. These folks are extremely busy. As you know, in your role, people are working on deadlines, working on shoot schedules that can sometimes make it very difficult for them to be out of the office or out of the studio, depending on the case. So it can sometimes take weeks of back and forth, email, phone tag, trying to confirm even one speaker. So working with the speakers, like I said, starts in January, can go, much to my dismay, all the way up, a week or two before the event. As we get more into March, that shifts more into the publicity, so the things that we talked about before, and then definitely working with the faculty, who, like I said, are amazing. They're definitely very helpful in getting the students to the event.
And then how, right before the event, how long does it take to set everything up and get everything ready in Soul and then to tear it back down after?
Well, certainly the staff at the Soul Center do most of the heavy lifting in terms of setting up all the tables, the cloth and drape, and all of that. I'm there usually at about 5 or 6 a.m. getting the gifts out for the speakers, getting all the table tents out, just getting all the different things arranged. We usually have volunteers from Lambda Pi Eta who also come a bit early to help with registration. Many of the faculty arrive a little early to help moderate the panels or do various things at the event also.
What kind of budget do you get to work with this kind of project?
It varies by year based on how many student attendees we have. The budget for this event actually comes through the sponsoring department, so Communication, English, Media Arts, and the entire School of Communication and Information Systems each contribute to that, as well as the Career Center.
And how does an event like this fall in line with the mission of Robert Morris University?
Very well. The mission, obviously, part of that is helping to prepare students, with professional, practical education to help you get ready for the world. And definitely this would fall in line with that. We want you to be talking to people out working in the fields that you want to be in, giving you a chance to learn and get good information, but also a chance to network with them. These are organizations that may not be as likely to attend other events like a typical job fair. It's just not how they tend to hire. So this is a unique event created specifically for some of those areas, and we definitely hope the students will come out for that.
And what kind of other events do you have throughout the year that kind of mimic this, maybe for students of other majors or that sort of thing?
We have a lot of different events. Probably the two largest, the Career Expo is our largest job fair, and that's held usually in October in the fall. We also have a spring career fair that will be on April 8th. So once you go to creativity at work, you should feel free to come to the other event as well. During the year, we have a lot of other smaller programs. We just had a networking reception a few weeks ago that was very well attended. That was the mocktail reception. And just different targeted programs, whether it be on job search or networking. We had a networking tips program before the actual event. And then we do a lot of major specific programs also.
And are all of these events held in the Soul Center?
I would say most of them are. Certainly the large events are held in the Soul Center. Mostly the job fairs are typically in the arena. The networking receptions, creativity at work tend to be more on the 3rd floor. But like I said, we do a lot of major specific types of programs, and sometimes that's in partnership with the faculty, so you have probably seen us in the classrooms also.
Well, that is all the time we have for today here on Campus Stories. On behalf of our guests and our always awesome technical crew, I am your host, Vince Russo. We'll see you all again next week. Take care, everyone.